everyone. Happy Friday. Can you guys all hear me and see me okay? Just want to make sure that you guys can hear me before I start talking some more. So if everybody can give me a 5x5 in the chat. Wonder if I've got a delay. Yay. Thank you, Apartment Prepper. So I just want to go ahead and welcome you all in really quickly and just say a big hi to everybody. And thank you all for joining me. I greatly appreciate all of your support. And I just want to say hi to a few people before we get started. I know a lot of people don't like it when you spend a lot of time on that, but I just want to say thank you to everybody. So hi, Nate. Good to see you. Hi, Vancity. I'm so glad you're here, and I really appreciate your help. Hi, Rita. Good to see you. Good to see you, Apartment Prepper. Thank you for coming. Hi, TG. It's nice to have you a part of this group, so I appreciate you joining. Hi, Karen. Good to see you. And did I get everybody? No, I did not. Hi, Sierra H.O. Or is it Sierra Echo? Sierra Echo. Good to see you. All right. Hi, Mountain Grandma. Coffee first, then speak. Good to see you guys. Hi, NG Plus. Welcome in. All right, guys. So I just want to go ahead and get going on this then. So, a few housekeeping items before we get started. I just want to let you guys know that if anybody is being deliberately rude or condescending, or they're not being very kind in the chat, then I will give you one opportunity to redeem yourself. And if you continue that behavior, then I'm going to have one of my mods give you guys the boot. So just fair warning, we're all adults here. We want to act like adults and we want to be respectful of each other. I'm not saying you can't have a differing opinion. That's not what I'm saying at all, but we need to do it in a respectful manner. So now that that's out of the way, I want to let you guys know I am going to be using several code words that you should be familiar with when I'm talking about this stuff. I have to be a little bit careful and protective of my channel because I want to make sure that I'm still here. And I'm sure you guys are aware of that. The other thing is I'm brand new to this. This is my first time ever doing a live stream. So what you guys can't see and what I can see are two totally different things. So the studio is new for me. I'm trying to learn how to do this. Hi, Jacqueline J. Good to see you. Good to see you, Labradite. So if I don't see your comments, it's going to be difficult for me. I'm not used to this multitasking thing. And in an effort not to go off on some tangent for a while, I'm going to do my best to stay on track. So what I want to do is go ahead and start getting through this stuff because it can be overwhelming. It is a lot of information that I have for you guys tonight. So what I want to do is open up a Q&A session at the end for you where you guys can ask me any questions and you feel like there's something that I missed or you just want to know a little bit more. Now, if I can't answer that, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to try to give you some half-baked response to something that I don't know because a lot of this information is really buried, as I'm sure you guys are aware. So I'm going to do my best to answer those questions, but if I can't, then I can't. So I'm hoping that as we go along, though, I am going to end up answering your questions. So let's just go ahead and get started on that. The first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is something that I actually came across this afternoon. So in case you weren't aware, the WHO had an emergency meeting today concerning the monkeypox. So they don't think it's serious yet. The cases are isolated, but they are sequencing the virus to determine if they are linked in any way. So the WHO said the early cases were unusual for 3 reasons. All but one have no relevant travel history to areas where monkeypox is an endemic, and most are being detected through sexual health services among men who have relations with men. And then the wide geographic spread across Europe and beyond suggests that this transmission may have already been going on for some time. So I don't know if this is going to turn into anything or not and be really serious, but the timing of it is very questionable, right? with everything that is going on. So now what I wanted to bring to you guys' attention today are two different points. So what we're going to be taking a look at is going to be the World Health Organization's plans concerning this pandemic treaty, as well as the more pressing issue of their 75th meeting in Geneva, Switzerland next week during May 22nd through 28th, where they're going to be discussing the amendments that are actually proposed by the United States. So these are two separate entities, they're two separate issues. We have the treaty, and then we also have the amendments. So the World Health Organization has started drafting this global pandemic treaty on preparedness that would grant it absolute power over global biosecurity, such as the power to implement digital identities, jab passports, mandatory jabs, travel restrictions, standardized medical care, and more. So the World Health Organization, as we know, are going to be voting on these amendments to the International Health Regulations next week, IHR, in Geneva, Switzerland at the 75th meeting. And it's going to strip away more of our individual rights and liberties if this goes into law. So whatever goes into law they would decide that they could decide that an international health emergency was in effect. It would override national government. So this is a big, big deal. And in addition to them discussing the amendments, they're also going to be accepting 2 more days of public comment on June 16th and June 17th concerning the treaty itself. So I want you guys to just file those dates away in the back of your mind right now, and I will get to those later. So those are concerning the treaty. Those dates, they're not concerning the amendments. So make no mistake, the WHO Pandemic Treaty is a direct attack on the sovereignty of its member states, as well as a direct attack on your bodily autonomy. And when they say member states, guys, they mean these member nations. So with this treaty in place, all member nations will be subject to the WHO's orders. And as noted by James Corbett, an independent journalist, these negotiations are already well underway. And the treaty is expected to be fully implemented by 2024. That is, unless the people of the world wake up to what's happening and we start pushing back against this monstrosity. And I'm going to be talking to you guys about the ways we can do that as we get towards the end of this discussion. So WHO Director General Tedros has previously stated that his central priority as Director General of the WHO is to push the world toward universal health coverage. And we know this, and if you guys are curious about that, you can just type in the WHO and pull it up on Wikipedia, and it will tell you that that is their goal, is universal health coverage. And considering the WHO changed its definition of pandemic to a worldwide epidemic of a disease without the original specificity of severe illness that causes high morbidity, just about anything can be made to fit this global health crisis criterion. So that's a big deal. The WHO insists that the remedy is the same for everyone everywhere, yet the risks widely vary from nation to nation, region to region, person to person, but they intend to eliminate our individualized medicine and provide blanket rulings for how a given threat is to be addressed. So this is kind of a very serious thing in my opinion, and I'm sure you guys agree with me right now. Good to see you, Northern Girl Hobbies. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Rapture Ready. So to give us an idea of how the WHO might end up misusing this new proposed international instrument on pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response, we can take a look at the International Health Regulations, IHR, which the U.S. signed on to in 2005. Now, the IHR is what empowered the WHO to declare a public health emergency of international concern in the first place that we have been dealing with since 2020. Now, I included a link to this document for you guys in the description box, and it is about 80-something pages long. But if you pull it up and then pull up the other document that I linked with it, which is the proposed changes, these amendments, and you compare these documents side by side, you can look at the articles on this new document and compare it to this one, and you will see that that is a carbon copy. And the difference is that they have crossed out the things on these proposed amendments that they're no longer going to pertain, and then they have bolded the changes that they want to make. Now, I don't have time to cover all of these, but I really want you guys to pay particular attention to Article 12, Section 2, as well as Articles 48 and 49. So Article 12, Section 2 allows the Director General of the WHO complete authority, and he no longer has to relegate to any member states. So he's given this complete authority. And the other thing about Articles 48 and 49 is that he is going to be appointing every single one of these people to this member board. So they are going to be they're handpicked by him. And of course, since they're going to be handpicked by him, they're going to be furthering his agenda. So we don't have anybody in there as our advocate. These people are appointed by him. So as noted by Corbett, the IHR allows the unelected Director General of the WHO to simply declare a public health emergency of international concern, and then suddenly all member nations have to dance to his tune, which is just insane. So the other things I wanted to talk about with you guys, I'm sure most people have never even heard of the international health regulations that went into effect in 2005. I know myself, I had not. So I found this very interesting, this information that we have uncovered here. So the other thing I wanted to tell you is that these amendments to the international health regulations do not need to be approved by 2/3 of the U.S. Senate. We've already agreed to obey the IHR by virtue of our membership in the United States, or in the United Nations and the WHO. So we've already given away some of our sovereignty, and these amendments are designed to confuse the member nations further into giving away more of their sovereignty. And then the other thing I wanted to point out here is that each country, each member nation of the UN, which I believe there are 194 of them, is given 3 delegates for each of their countries. Now, those 3 delegates represent the country, and they cast 1 vote per country. And with this, they do not have to have a 2/3 majority. This is going to be a simple majority vote. So what you are going to see is that with this 194, they would only need 98 votes, guys, to get these amendments through. So this is a serious situation. So this, in addition to these proposed amendments to the IHR, the WHO has also set up an intergovernmental negotiating body, an INB, that is actively, they are the ones that are drafting this treaty on pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. So this treaty doesn't exist yet. Right now, it's being drafted. So we will talk about that in a minute, what we can do. So, and the other thing is, because this stuff is so buried, it's not known if these amendments will be voted upon individually or if they're going to be voted on as a complete package. But they will give the Director General of the WHO the power to unilaterally declare a public health emergency of international concern, even over the objection of the country dealing with an outbreak of a disease. So if he decides you have a problem in your country and you have a disease issue and you don't think you do, it doesn't matter, because if he says you have a problem, you have a problem, and he's going to make sure that it's addressed. So according to the changes made to the U.S. regulations that were published one day before Donald Trump was inaugurated in January 19th of 2017, the definition of a public health emergency was changed to now include the declaration of a public health emergency of international concern by the WHO. So they went in and changed the definition of public health emergency in our country. And a unilateral declaration of a public health emergency of international concern by the WHO will enable the declaration of this by the U.S. Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services in our country. So the treaty includes 194 countries, as we stated, and would be legally binding. Now, this treaty defines and classifies what is considered a pandemic, and this would consist of could consist of broad classifications, including an increase in cancers or heart conditions or strokes or whatever they decide fits the bill. And if the pandemic is declared, the WHO takes over the global health management of that pandemic. And that could dictate how our doctors can respond, which drugs they can be used, which jabs are approved. We would end up with this one size fits all approach for the entire world. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is the WHO has actually contracted German-based Dutch telecom subsidiary T-Systems to develop a global jab passport system with plans to link everyone on the planet to a QR code digital ID. And this is where we are seeing, I know a lot of us have heard of these VSeen digital passports in other countries. This is one they're working on that is just going to be global. So they have partnered with T-Systems. That contract went into effect in February of this year. So guys, if they are spending millions of dollars on this, we know that this isn't going to go away, right? It's going to continue because you don't spend millions of dollars on something that you don't have intention of following through with. So what does the WHO intend to do with more power? And one clue comes from its primary funder, Billy Goat. Now, Billy Goat recently announced he's building a global health crisis response team for the WHO, which he would like to be called GERM, right? I'm sure a lot of us have heard about this, the Global Epidemic Response and Mobilization Team. Now, this team will be made up of thousands of disease experts, which is really interesting, right? Because who elected Billy Goat as a disease expert in the first place? The guy doesn't have a degree, he's not a doctor, and yet he's going to help put together this wonderful team of people that I'm sure are going to have all of our best interests at heart, right? So they would decide when we need to suspend civil liberties, force populations to wear masks, and close borders. And of course, Billy Goat is also the largest funder of the WHO. So the other thing that we know, in addition to him being the largest funder of the WHO, is that he's also partnered with the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab. And there's something that I wanted to show you guys that I discovered and I found. I wanted to figure out now, how exactly is the WHO also tied to the World Economic Forum? And what I found, guys, is this really interesting picture. It was a tweet that Dr. Tedros himself went ahead and shared out. And it is a picture of him with Klaus Schwab. So I want to go ahead and just show this to you guys real quick on screen. So here is this tweet. And he said, notice the timing of this. I'm going to scroll down so you guys can see the timing. This was November 15th of 2019, right before we entered into this mess of 2020. So he says, excellent discussion with Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of WEF, about how we can join forces to accelerate progress in health and development to deliver the global goals UN. I look forward to continuing our discussions with partners. Isn't that something? So I just wanted to show you guys that really fast because I thought that was interesting. And then the other thing that I found, as a side note, Dr. Tedros' 5-year term was set to expire as of July 1st of this year. Isn't that something? However, he can be reappointed once for a second 5-year term. And the deadline for these nominations was in September of last year. Now, the only name that was cast for vote from other foreign countries was his name again. So it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be reelected to the role of Director General once again. So we're stuck with this guy for at least another 5 years. So the big question here is, can we stop it, right? The question now is, can we stop this international pandemic instrument that the WHO is seeking? So with short notice, the WHO announced it would accept public comment on the treaty for a total of 5 days in April. Now, one of the people that stepped up to the plate and actually made it in time was the World Council for Health. And they are a wonderful organization. If you guys have not heard of them, they are champions of us and our freedoms, especially, from all of these jab requirements and everything else. And they were among the few that acted quickly enough to submit a comment in opposition to this treaty. So since we missed that initial window, that was in April, they are opening up an additional 2 days in June. And that's why I want you guys to pay attention to and mark down June 16th and 17th on your calendar, because those dates are going to be an opportunity for us to send in our comments, and I will tell you about that more in a minute. But the more pressing issue right now that we're facing, right, is the amendments that are being voted on next week. Now, there is information out right now on the World Council for Health's website, worldcouncilforhealth.org, and it's titled Updated Comment at the Stakeholder Listening Session for the 75th World Health Assembly. I have linked this for you guys in the description box. So all you have to do is just click on it. It'll take you right there. And in it, there's a section where they have established a drafted letter for you. It's a default letter, and all you have to do is make some changes, add your name. You can add a paragraph of your own. I already filled mine out and sent it in. And this is going to be available to us until Monday, May 30th. So please, 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 guys, add your comments to this, get this out, because I'm hoping that millions of us are going to come together and flood the airways and say enough is enough. We're not okay with this. So I would really appreciate it if you guys would share this with a couple people that you know, and we can just continue to get this out there. So the other thing is there is a section on James Roguski's website, Speaking Truth to Power. If you scroll towards the bottom titled, To Whom Should You Speak?, there is a list of delegates for every country. And I've linked that one there for you guys as well. If you're in the US, he lists all of the delegates and their contact information, as well as the alternates. Now, with this, he said that he was only able to obtain the ones that represented us last year, because they have not released who's actually going. Isn't that something? So what I did, because I don't have time to go through all these different people, and I'm sure you guys don't either, is I went ahead and I chose to email the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Xavier Becerra, with my concerns. And if I hear back from him, I will let you guys know. But that is what we can do. And since we in the United States are proposing these amendments in the first place, I almost feel like trying to contact the delegates is a moot point, right? They are simply placeholders and seat fillers, if you will, for the administration. So that is why, I'm not I feel like it's almost too late to contact the delegates, but the comments are important. The comments on the worldcouncilforhealth.org is going to be, I think, a much better solution for us at this juncture. And, the question is, who is the administration? We know it isn't Joe, because Joe doesn't know who Joe is anymore. So it's not him. And then we hear names like the deep state and the establishment, but I think it's probably a lot more than that. Yes, I think there are a lot of these career politicians that are corrupt in there, but I also think there's other people involved, like, your major tech companies, your big pharma, your foreign players, your big bank, you name it. But I still think that we need to try to do something. And we've all heard that quote before. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And I feel like we are to that point. We have our backs against a wall, and we need to come out swinging and do everything we can and throw everything we can at this, And, for those of you who are concerned about giving out your name and your email address because you're afraid you might be added to a list, I just want to tell you something right now. You guys are already on a list. Trust me. The moment you guys purchased a firearm, the moment you disagreed politically and voted a certain way, the moment you said no to the job requirements, and the moment you started watching any of us content creators on here with a differing opinion than this, mainstream mess, you're already on a list. So what's one more list, right? We need to go ahead and we need to do everything we can. So as far as the June 16th and 17th deadline that I have mentioned for you guys, that is also something that I believe we're going to be able to obtain from the World Council for Health.org. So once you're done filling out the comment, if you stay on that page and you scroll to the bottom, there is going to be an area where you can put in your name, your email address, and then you're going to hit sign up, and they will send you a newsletter as soon as they have information on how we can submit our comments for the treaty aspect of this whole situation. So that is where we can do that. And I would encourage you guys to maybe just check their website out a couple times a week until we get to that point. So I think that is going to be important. And if I see where they have posted that information, I'm sure it's going to look similar to the one they have out right now for next week. So if I see that, I will link that for you guys on my community tab. So I don't have to tell you guys that this is all very concerning, right? There are some, I think, in the community that think even if these people try to accomplish this, it won't happen here because we won't let it, right? But need I remind you of what happened during those lockdowns of 2020? Did everyone pretty much consent to the masks and shut down the businesses, or did we see mass demonstrations against it? And I know a lot of you guys also follow Angry Prepper. So do you guys remember what happened in New York City when he was out there doing the marches? He was with his fellow firefighters, police officers, state employees, and they were marching about these job requirements. But did anything get changed? Did everybody stand together in solidarity, or did everyone bail at the last minute and not see these changes enacted? So this is exactly what I am concerned about. If they officially destroy the US dollar, which we know they are bent on doing as intended, and they set up this global official pandemic treaty allowing the WHO to have final say regarding these jabs, treatments, jab passports, and the like, the world will look very different. And all they have to do to finish it off is to go ahead and establish the CBDC, their central bank digital currency, and then we'll no longer be able to hold down a job or receive any kind of currency to purchase food or gas or any other necessities that we have. We won't be able to pay our utilities, our mortgages, our insurances if we don't consent to all of their requirements. So they will officially have us exactly right where they want us. So I feel like that's why it's more important than ever that we go ahead and we take a few minutes to submit our comments on this. And you guys may think that it might not do anything, but how do we know it won't do anything if we don't try? And I think that is like my main point here, is that if we don't all come together while we still have an opportunity to enact change by the millions, then nothing is going to change. And as a Christian, I believe this is biblical, and we are seeing the end times play out in real time. And if these measures aren't stopped, the mark of the beast is going to be at our doorstep. So I just wanted to go ahead and share all of this with you guys. I think it's very important. I want to go ahead and give you an opportunity, if you guys have any questions for me, to go ahead and drop them in chat. I didn't mean to completely ignore you, but I have a lot of information I had to cover, and I was afraid I was going to get kind of distracted and go off the rails a bit. So I just wanted to give you guys a chance here. If you guys have anything for me that you want to go ahead and throw in the chat. If we don't have any questions, that's great too, because I mean, my voice is getting kind of tired. I really greatly appreciate all of you being here in support. It means a lot to me. I see a lot of people in here that I see on a regular basis, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. So I'm going to just kind of like scroll through here and see if I see anything that jumps out at me where you guys have asked a question or said anything. Apartment Premper says, I've been on a list since the 90s when I worked at Virgin Megastore because we sold the Antichrist cookbook. Interesting. So I see Northern Girl Hobbies is in here. Good to see her too. Anything? I don't see anything that you guys have any questions. All right. So basically, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this then. But I wanted to encourage you because we still can pray. We still have the ability to pray. And I know a lot of this stuff is very dark and it can get depressing. But I wanted to leave you guys with several scriptures that I think is also going to help encourage you a little bit. So I wanted to go on here and just share a couple of those with you. I'm going to put them on screen for you so you guys can actually see them. So here's one of them, Psalm 46:1. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Amen. And another one I wanted to share with you guys is Psalm 138:7. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you will revive me. You will stretch out your hand against the wrath of my enemies, and your right hand will save me. And then Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. And the last one, Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous man runs into it and is safe. Amen and amen. Well, I hope that I have given you guys some food for thought, and I hope that you guys now feel like there is something that you can do about this, and it's not going to take up a lot of your time to do it. It should just take a few minutes. So I'm sorry, I missed a question. My question was, how will Tedros enforce his pandemic orders? This from Labradorite. Well, Labradorite, my concern with that whole thing is that whatever he goes ahead and decides to do, since all of the countries have already agreed to it, we are going to be at their mercy. And what you need to understand is, like I said, the United States is the one who proposed these amendments and these changes, giving him that authority in the first place. So we've already been sold out. That is what I would say to that. Does anyone else have any other questions for me? I don't see any other ones on here. All right, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead. Did you listen to Brannon House live today? No, I did not, Rapture Ready. Is there something really important that you would like to share in the chat with us about what you heard? Thank you, Jacqueline. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. I do intend to do more lives. I'm going to try to do one once a week, and I'm going to keep it at this time slot. So going forward, it's going to be every Friday. And I've already lined up another one next week, and I'm going to have at least one other person on here with me. I'm hoping to have more. So we're actually going to do more of a panel discussion. It won't just be me talking. Oh, that's really interesting, Rapture Ready. Thank you for sharing that. No, I did not know that there was somebody else who actually talked about all this stuff today. That is really wonderful. That is what I want to hear, because I want everybody out there to start pushing this. I'm obviously very small, and so I can't get as much out as I would like to. But it's great to hear that there's other people out there pushing it. I know Magic Prepper did a video on it. I know Alaska Prepper covered it. I know Sassy Gal did a segment on her channel on it. So I'm really happy that everybody is starting to get on the bandwagon and start pushing this out. But what I really want to see is, I'm hoping a lot of the larger content creators will start pushing out how we can help stop it. So if they want to share the other information on here that I shared towards the end with how to submit those comments, I think that would be really amazing. Yes, we need to get the word out. Exactly, Rapture Ready. Exactly. So I really greatly appreciate all of you guys coming on here and spending the evening with me. And I'm sure there's a couple other people that are going to be having lives tonight. So if you want to check them out, I'm going to be going over there and checking out some other content creators that are coming on myself, because I really enjoy our community. Poor Country Living, you are just fine. And I'm so glad that you could join us tonight. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this. But I really appreciate all of you, and I will continue to do these live streams. I'm going to do, like I said, another one next week, and I'm going to have some guests next week, at least one guest that I know of. I'm going to try to lock down some more, but that will be a lot of fun too. Thank you guys. I'll see you later. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a blessed weekend and keep prepping. Bye, all.